Hey, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is our fourth of a virtual resource fair that we have just started this year for families. We have really enjoyed hosting up to 12 different community organizations. So including today, we've had 12, which is really exciting. And they've ranged across Salt Lake County, working with families with child development, childcare, supporting adults in recovery with substances and from domestic violence, and personal development, job training, and more. So it's been really wonderful. So we're excited about today. I can just speak a little bit about Powerful Moms Who Care. So it's an organization that began in January of 2018, and it is comprised of low-income women working towards safer communities and healthier families, especially for people living in extreme poverty and struggling with homelessness or have a history of homelessness. And we work to increase the availability of low-income housing for families, as well as accessible, affordable childcare, healthcare, and education and job training. So that's our mission, and we are located in Salt Lake City, Utah, but we will be hosting some upcoming virtual events online because of the state of the world right now. So we want to try to be as safe as we can for our families and our moms. So I will do a little intro with our wonderful speakers. So today we have 3 guests joining. We have Cheryl from DDI Vantage's Early Intervention Program. We have Danielle from the Rape Recovery Center, and we have Jess from Crossroads Urban Center. So I will have, I'll give a little intro for DDI Vantage Early Intervention now. So their purpose is to provide services for children under the age of 3 who have developmental delays and disabilities, and their families, and for their families by offering a full range of services to meet their individual needs. So I will turn it over to Cheryl.
All right, thanks for having me. So my name's Cheryl. I'm a family service coordinator and a program service specialist with DDI Vantage. I've worked with them for over 10 years. So I've gotten to see a lot of amazing kiddos make progress and a lot of amazing families. As it was mentioned, we are a nonprofit organization. We provide services for kids that have any type of delay in their development. They have a disability or a delay. So basically, our kiddos are from 0 to 3, and referrals can come in from all referral sources. We have hospitals making referrals for kiddos. We have doctors and pediatricians. Parents can call in, grandparents, and any foster care family as well. What we do is we first do an evaluation of the kiddo to see if they qualify for our services. And so we look at all areas of development for kiddos. So we're going to be looking at their gross motor skills, their walking and crawling skills. We'll look at fine motor and how they're developing with that. We'll look at their cognitive development, which is their problem solving. And then we look at expressive and receptive language skills as kind of what they're understanding and what they're saying. And we look at social emotional development, and we also look at their adaptive skills, kind of how they're coping on their own, some of their self-help skills like getting dressed and things like that, and feeding. So, and then after the evaluation, if the child qualifies, what we'll do is we'll assign them to a provider that fits their needs for the concern for the child. We have a variety of therapists on our team. We have physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, child development specialists, special educators. We're also contracted with USDB, so we have vision and hearing specialists as well that work with the kiddos, and also nursing. And so after that, what we do is we'll start services. It goes until the child continues to qualify or until they're satisfied with progress. There may or may not be a fee for services. We work under the Department of Health. They have a very generous sliding fee scale for the family under Baby Watch Early Intervention Program. A lot of families, if they're on Medicaid Wicker Chip, do not have a fee. And the most important thing is we're an education-based family coaching model that we do with the families. We actually teach the parents, show them all the skills, give them all the tricks and things to help their child develop properly in their home environment and in their daily routines where they're there every single day. So we help educate the parents on how to help their child. And then our services go till we're 3. When we start getting closer to 3 years of age, if there's still concerns for the children, we do help with transitioning to the school district and their special education program. So we help with a meeting to prepare families if that's something that they need, and if they'd like to get their child evaluated by the school district, and it happens just right before they turn 3, so they can transition easily into that setting if they need it. So, we talked about cost. I think, in a nutshell, that's all the details. Are there any other questions?
So we'll have a little short Q&A after all the speakers. So if anyone has a question, just type it into the chat, and then we'll get that over to Cheryl. So yeah, if there's anything else you want to say, or. All right. Well, we can move on to the Rape Recovery Center. So the Rape Recovery Center empowers those victimized by sexual violence through advocacy, crisis intervention, and therapy to educate the community about the cause, impact, and prevention of sexual violence. So I will have Danielle speak now. Thank you.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So yes, that's kind of what we're about. We are a service organization, a little different than a coalition or anything else. We are also a nonprofit, but we offer, and I'm sorry if you hear the little dot, that's like little incoming messages. I have no idea how to mute that. But ignore that. But I'm going to run you through a couple of the resources. So I'm the outreach coordinator. So I do all of the outreaching for the community events, workshops, tabling. I run all of the social media and kind of all of that shebang. But our biggest thing that we have is we have a crisis line. We have a 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year crisis line. It's one of our longest standing services. And we recently were celebrating our 1-year anniversary for our Spanish crisis line. So that is essentially, you just call in for whatever service that you may need. And we have a team of folks who kind of run through what, whatever the survivor kind of needs or whoever's calling. And it doesn't have to specifically be to sexual violence. It can be domestic violence or whatever that kind of looks like. We also have the hospital response team. I'm not quite sure how familiar everyone is with that, but following protocol whenever, and trigger warning, whenever a sexual assault happens, typically that person will go to the hospital or another entity that's able to do that. And we have something called a code R. So when a code R is kind of called, we have our hospital response team who's immediately called into that. And then we work with law enforcement, the nurses, and the survivor to kind of advocate for their needs during that time. So that's one of our biggest things. And then we have advocacy. So our advocacy services are folks who call in, and how do we take them in, right? Whether that's with our services or with other folks. And that brings us into therapy. We offer specific therapy services. So most everyone on our team is a licensed therapist. I did not do my background in therapy. I have a master's in education, a little different, but most everyone else is in social work or in therapy, licensed therapists. So we offer zero to no cost services. And that's kind of our biggest thing, is having our resources for those who are overwhelmingly impacted by sexual violence and who need those services. So again, whether we offer that or we put those resources to other folks, that's kind of what we do. And then we also have group services. So the healing journey looks very different for everyone, and sometimes that is in a group setting. So we have a variety of groups. We have a men's group, we have a women of color group, we have groups just in general. And of course, all of this has been adapted for Corona, so it's all virtual, but we're still taking clients, we're still looking for new folks. Where it's safe for us and our staff, we're able to take do therapy service in person in the actual office. But yeah, that's just kind of a quick rundown of what we do, what we offer. There's a lot more that we do. We also do educational outreach efforts and whatnot for community events. But we're really accessible. We're right now on 1300 East in Sugar House. So yeah, if that's the physical space.
Great, thank you so much, Danielle. That was a lot of really great information. We will move on now to Crossroads Urban Center. So Crossroads is a grassroots nonprofit that assists and organizes Utahns with low incomes, those with disabilities, and people of color to meet the basic survival needs and to address essential issues affecting their quality of life. So I will have Jess speak a little bit more about their services.
Thank you. Somehow I am not able to share my screen. If you make me a co-host, I can.
Okay, sorry, try that now.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. As Audrey said, I am the community outreach coordinator for Crossroads Urban Center. I also do some community organizing. So I'm just gonna cover our services. Brief history, we've been in Salt Lake City for a minute. In 1884, a group of women came to Salt Lake City, moved from the East Coast through the United Methodist Church, and they bought this building, 347 South 400 East. It's the building we are still in. They were a really generous group of people. They decided the building was too big to just have people living there. So for a while, it became a free school. It became a drug rehab center, it became a community center, and then it became a food pantry and thrift store. And in 1966, it became Crossroads Urban Center. We quickly became non-religiously affiliated. They owned the building until very recently, and generously allowed us to use it for $1 every 15 years, which is how we can stay in this beautiful space. And now we own the building. So what do we do in that space? We run an emergency food pantry as our primary directive, our primary mission. In that food pantry, we offer 3-day supplies of food. So we have food orders for folks who have a place to live and have a place to cook. We have food orders for folks who have a place to hold the food but have no cooking facilities, for example, folks living in a car or motels. And then we have a food order for folks who are living on the street that has things that are already prepared, things like sandwiches, crackers, a little smaller package, eligible more often, things that are easier to grab and go. We also try and help in all of the areas where people might be feeling really crunched with money, things that are expensive, and we can provide a little bit of a relief offer formula, diapers, baby food, hygiene items. Hygiene, especially for our folks living on the street, is a really, really important part of keeping healthy. We have pet food, and we also have clothing vouchers, which I'll talk more about. For all of those items, for the most part, folks come to our pantry and just need an ID. In addition to those services, we also offer what we call emergency services. These are the eligibility for that is less often, and we need a little bit more documentation. But we need, which I'll talk more about in a minute, but we offer assistance with prescriptions. We can offer up to $100 of prescription assistance per person in a family every year. And that can be anything that's not a controlled substance. So it doesn't matter if you have insurance or not. If it's a copay, if it's the full pay, whatever you need, we can help with that as long as it's not controlled. We can also help with gasoline for the car, $15 every year. So not a ton, but it helps a little bit, especially gas is pretty inexpensive right now. We also help with bus passes. So we give out day bus passes twice a week. And we have some funding for utility shutoffs. We know, especially with the pandemic, there was a moratorium on utility shutoffs, and that's starting to transition out, it appears. We're starting to see folks who are receiving shutoff notices. So we do offer up to $150 of assistance for utility shutoff. For each of these, they require something slightly different. For the most part, we try to be as low barrier as we can. We just need an ID for most of the items, especially in that top list. For our emergency services, we need things like the prescription, We need the registration for the car, a valid driver's license, and the utility shutoff has some really specific things that we need. So we just ask folks to call us before they come in for any of those services. How it works, again, like I mentioned, we try to be pretty low barrier. Things have changed quite a lot with the pandemic. So you can see this is our building. It's that same one from 1884. Actually, we purchased, the building was purchased in 1905, just slightly after the group came to Salt Lake City. But we've been in this building since 1905. We've moved all of the services up to this point since March. Outside, you can see how it's working. We ask folks to wear a mask. Even though we are outside, we are practicing social distancing. We do require masks. For folks who don't have them, we do have some masks that we can distribute. Just ask everyone to bring an ID. We're pretty open about what that means. For adults, it can be a state issued ID. It can be from any state except for gas vouchers. It can even be expired. It can be from any country. It can be pretty much anything that is name and date of birth. It can be a copy. It can be a picture on your phone. It can be the CCS ID, which is the ID that Catholic Community Services gives out to our homeless folks. For kids, the ideal is birth certificate. We can do school ID, report card, immunization record, basically anything with a name and date of birth, although we cannot use social security cards. That's the only thing we can't use for kids. Especially now, if folks are living in a house with multiple people and they don't want everyone to come out, that is totally okay with us. We just need the ID for those folks. So for kids, for other people, you don't have to be blood relatives, you don't have to have any marriage. You can be roommates, you can be getting food for your family, parents, whoever. As long as you have the ID, we can offer services for those folks. We can give you enough food and other services. Again, with any questions, give us a call. And I mentioned we also have clothing vouchers. So if someone comes to either of our two food pantries, our downtown pantry or our west side pantry, we also offer clothing vouchers to our thrift store. Thrift store is at 1385 West Indiana. It's pretty small. It's in the corner, sort of over by the Jordan River Trail. Folks are eligible for a voucher per person in the family every single month, and that voucher covers 3 tops, 3 bottoms, a pair of shoes, underwear, socks, and household items. Obviously, it depends what we get maybe not obviously, it depends what we get donated. So, sizes might be different, which is why we try to offer it pretty regularly. So folks just come to our pantries, get that voucher, and then can come to our thrift store and they just need an ID. We are asking that only one person from each family enter the thrift store at a time. That's a little bit frustrating with clothing, but it's the way that we've been able to keep social distancing and been able to keep our thrift store open since June. We did have to close shortly for a short period of time. And we do ask that folks wear a mask when they come to the thrift store. Again, we have some to distribute, but we do require that to enter the store. So our business hours now are Tuesday through Friday. All of our locations have slightly altered business hours for COVID. Tuesday through Friday, 12 to 5 p.m. Again, they bring the voucher, just drop in. At both locations, it's drop in, no appointments. We don't set appointments at all. Then the second part of the work that we do, I'm just going to touch on really briefly. We believe in direct services. We know that meeting people's immediate needs is critical for survival, and we're here for that. And we also know that until we change the system, for every one person that comes to us, there will be 2 or 3 behind them. There are reasons, systemic reasons that people are in poverty. And so we work to address those through advocacy and community organizing. Advocacy is where we as an organization listen to the folks who are coming to us, and we go up to the legislature, go to different political bodies, and advocate on their behalf. Community organizing is a critical part of what we do. We organize groups of people who are in poverty or in specific situations to come together, create spaces for them in a system that for the most part is exclusive and marginalizing. And we hope to incorporate, our goal is to incorporate people who have been excluded into the system. Because we know that people who live experiences know the solution to the problem in a way that someone who has never lived that experience will never know. So a couple groups, Powerful Moms Who Care. We have a group in Poplar Grove and a coalition of religious communities. So if anyone is interested in more information about our services and volunteering with us, our advocacy work, I'm the contact. This is my information. You can put it in the chat as well. I'm available by email, by phone. And I want to mention one other service that we provide at Thanksgiving and at Christmas. We believe that everyone has the right to a special meal. It's a special time. And so we do food giveaways. At Thanksgiving, we give out about 4,000 turkeys. At Christmas, about 1,000. The Christmas one will be, we'll have information on that on our website as we get closer to it. This year, our Thanksgiving giveaway is going to be a bit different. In the past, for the past 25 years, it's been at the Urban Indian Center. This year, we're going to be doing a drive-up food distribution. So we'll be sending out flyers to all of our community partners and trying to get the word out in the community. But if you know anyone who needs food for the holiday, you receive a turkey and all the sides for a holiday meal. This year, it's going to be in the Smith's Ballpark parking lot, which is just north of the ballpark where the Bees play. I'm going to drive up. I have seen some of these in the past. In the past few months, there have been more and more of this type of distribution. Drive up, no ID requirements, no documentation needed. You drive up, you'll come through and pop your trunk, and we'll put a turkey on the sides in your vehicle for you. And this is provided by Harmon. So if you're interested in supporting it, Harmon's also runs a drive the 1st of November through Thanksgiving, where you can buy a turkey and donate a turkey, and that comes directly to our food distribution. So please spread the word on that. We're also looking for volunteers for that event. So if you know anyone who's interested in volunteering, we would love to have them. That is all I have, and I will save the questions the questions for when we get to that portion of the webinar. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was awesome, Jess. Yeah, so we have a little time for some Q&A. If there's anyone or any questions in the chat, just pop them in there for any of our speakers. I just have one that maybe all of you can kind of answer, just on the best way to find out about your services or kind of keep in touch. Like, is there social media or just the website, or what is the best way to get in contact with your organizations?
Yes, we have Facebook, we have our website. We just barely finished our new website. We were celebrating 50 years of services. So we're super proud of that. But yeah, we're able to be reached very easily.
I can go. If you want services to referrals, calling the line would be the easiest way for that one. If not, you can email myself. We also have social media. I'm kind of active on that, really big. So all of the events, whether they're ours or for other community events, they're all on. We have a Twitter, we have an Instagram, and we have a Facebook, as well as a YouTube. All of those are the Rape Recovery Center. But we're pretty active in posting, reposting what we're doing, and then whatever we kind of see around the community.
And for Crossroads, the easiest is to visit our website at crossroadsurbancenter.org. For most up-to-date information, we keep our Facebook pretty up-to-date, and then also giving us a call if you have questions on specific eligibility requirements. So our number is 801-364-7765.
Okay, great, thank you. I will also make sure to put all of your websites in the details of the YouTube video and on the Facebook events. So hopefully people can reach you. And if anyone needs direct contact info, you can also email us at powerfulmomswhocare@gmail.com, and I can get that to you. And any other questions that any of you have for each other? It looks like we don't have any questions. I think there was maybe some problem with the screen sharing, but I think we still got the information. Okay, looks like I'm frozen.
Early intervention.
Okay, great. Sorry, I think I was frozen for a second, but well, I will just move on just to our last portion. So thank you for watching today, and I will make sure to post and upload this video and send it out to all of you. And if you can share that with your groups as well, that would be wonderful. Also, please check out our 3 videos from the last 3 weeks. There's some really great organizations that were involved, and their contact info is also in the details of those videos on our Powerful Moms Who Care YouTube page. And to follow up with this series, we will be having a virtual new member information meeting the last week of October. So I will be contacting everyone who filled out the Harmons survey. So if you haven't done that, please fill that out. And I'll be sending out a doodle so that people can decide which times work best for meetings. So I know that some people are working and some people are more free during the day. So we're hopefully going to have at least 2 meetings to accommodate everyone that's interested in learning more about joining Powerful Moms Who Care. So if you or anyone know of someone who is interested in making change, learning about community organizing, and are a low-income mom in Salt Lake County, we would love for them to join. And as well as if they're passionate about affordable, accessible housing for families, affordable, accessible childcare, access to healthcare, fair treatment of children in schools, job training, and community health and safety. Those are the main issues we are working on right now. Please connect them to us, and we would love for them to join our organization. So thank you again to our wonderful groups that we had today. And I hope that it has been informative to everyone. I know that I definitely learned something new from all of the groups. And we will be announcing the gift card winner tomorrow. So if you're watching this and you haven't filled out the Harmons Google form, please do that. And I already posted that in the chat. If you have filled it out already, that's okay. And yeah, I will also post the websites for all of our groups today. So if there are no more questions, I think we can, yep, it looks like, so the rape recovery line is in the chat. We can also post that. So thank you so much. And also the Crossroads Urban Center information. Okay, sounds great. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.